Okay, last section that we looked at was dealing with investments. And we looked at different types of investments. We looked at change in interest rates. Some of the primary things is how do you increase your investment? Obviously, increase the amount of money that you put down on it, increase your payments, get a better interest rate. Those are all types of investments that we looked at. Today, we start on the loans part of this. So we're still going to use our TBM solver, all right? And we're going to do basically the exact same thing, except now, instead of us investing money, we're going to be borrowing money. So we're going to look at short-term loans, okay? Overdrafts. We're going to be looking at credit cards. We're going to be looking at long-term loans, such as purchasing vehicles or mortgages, okay? So they all work very similar in terms of using your calculator. We use the TBM solver. We put in the same amount of stuff. Now, instead of us putting in a negative value in which we're investing, we're putting in a positive value because that money goes into your bank account. And then the final value, the future value, will end up being a negative because you have to pay it back out of your account. Okay? But all of the process for this is all exactly the same as what we just did. So the good thing is there's not much change in this second section. Take a look in that box. It just talks about loans. When money is borrowed, interest is the cost of the loan. Some loans use simple interest, but most loans use compound interest. If a loan is repaid with one single payment at the end of the term, then the interest is calculated using the same formula as investments. Loans are often paid off with regular equal payments. Part of each payment pays off the interest and part pays off the amount borrowed or principal. A loan will cost less if any of the following occurs. The interest rate decreases. The interest is compounded less frequently. There are regular payments instead of a single payment. The regular payment amount increases. The regular payments are made more frequently. The term decreases. That bit of information will be some of the things that you want to put on that cheat sheet eventually, because they will ask you questions on the exam about how do you decrease the amount of money you have to pay back on a loan. How do you decrease the interest? Those are all ways in which we decrease the amount of interest. Now, the difference between an investment payment, in which we call the principal, the amount that you invest. The principal is the amount of money that on a loan is the amount of money that gets paid down on the loan. Okay? So, for example, if you take a loan out, let's say, we'll just do a simple calculation here. So I have a $50,000 loan, and I'm making monthly payments, and let's say that I'm making a monthly payment of $500. So you can have payments set in all the way so that right to the end of it. Hello? Hello? Good. Yeah, if you need it right now, we're just starting something brand new here. Okay. Okay, so $500, that payment could stay right till the very end. That could be, you could keep that payment. Now, there are other ways in which you pay off like a loan. You can have the payments decrease, the payments can increase. There's different types. There's monthly payments, there's biannual payments, there's bi-monthly, there's weekly, there's bi-weekly. There's differences in all types of loan payments. But out of this $500, not all of it goes against the loan. Only a portion of it goes against the loan, which is what we call the principal. So that's the amount of money that pays down on the loan. So let's say hypothetically that the interest on this loan, on your first payment, and this could happen, it's going to look scary to you, but this is what could happen. Your interest payment could be $350, which means then that only $150 is coming off the principal. So after one payment, your loan now is worth $49,850 after one payment. Now, you may have put down $500 on it, okay? but the only amount that might come off is the principal of $150. The rest is paid interest to the bank. Okay? So what happens as you continue to pay it off is this value increases and this value decreases. So when we look at mortgage payments, it's going to make a lot more sense to you. But what happens is your interest rate will continue to get smaller because you're borrowing less against that interest rate. All right? Each time you take down this amount, okay, that's the part of the loan that gets paid off, but that's the part of the loan you pay interest on. So your interest, each payment becomes less and less. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on for the next week or two here. So let's look at an example. Henderson's going to borrow $14,000 at 6% interest so he can buy a car. He's gone to 3 banks and they offered these terms. Bank A is simple interest, 3-year term with 1 end of term payment. Okay, so to calculate the interest on that loan, same thing, it's simple interest, $14,000, 6%, and how long does it take him to pay it off?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, so let's calculate what the interest is on that payment. $2,520. So a loan of $14,000 paid off with simple interest over 3 years is going to cost you $16,520, and that's what you'll have to pay at the end of it. Okay, so that's your simple interest. All right. Now, I don't know if I've ever seen simple interest on a loan of that size, but I mean, we do need to look at it. So, interest compounded monthly with regular payments of $400. Okay? So let's get out our TBM solvers and let's do this again. Okay, so we have the interest is compounded monthly with regular monthly payments of $400. All right, so now NIPV payment future value payments per year, compounds per year. Okay, so again, we have the payment schedule. So when we have payments, what do we have to do with our end value? Multiply the payments in a year by the number of years. So in this case, he's making regular monthly payments, so 12. It's also compounded monthly, right, the interest. Okay, he's making payments of minus 400, right? This will be 36. What is the interest rate? 6%. Okay. What's the present value of the loan?
14,000. Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm not sure this is going to work all that well, but let's try and find out what the future value of that loan is. You just go second finance, which is right here.
$1,019.09.
What did you get?
$1,019.09. No, I got 1,462. Because you put I got negative 1,019.
So I got here, I see. Got it right.
If you put the negative, you just put the like, because you're borrowing $14,000 as your loans.
Yeah, so that
Then
goes
you
into your
make-
account.
Then you make, but like, the account you're still like in debt to the bank, kind of like you're already.
No, don't do it that way,
Here.
because that's where we make errors on. Okay, so let's just go through. I want to see what's going on here. We're a little low on what that is. Yeah, I've got $1,000 here and 19 cents, which would be on top of 14,000. I'm just going to follow along in the book here and see how this works. Okay. I got an error here. I've got two errors. First one is this. I don't actually know how much. I don't know how many payments I'm going to need to make. Okay, now it says that it's paid off. The first one is a 3-year term, but we don't know how many payments I make to pay this off. So my future value is going to be 0 because I want to pay this loan off, right? So I want to find out how many payments are made. So let's do that first.
38 years.
Not years, that's number of payments.
Oh, 38.57.
38.57, another decimal.
Zero.
Okay, so there's 38.570 payments being made. Okay? So let's now take that number, we'll times it by 400. What do you get?
15,428.194.
Yeah, that's better. Okay, so what have I just calculated?
The future value. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Say that again, CJ? Total amount that I paid back. I was making $400 payments on this, right? Correct? So I made 38.57 payments to pay the whole loan off. Therefore, I paid $15,428.19. So what is the actual interest on the amount of the loan?
Like over half.
No.
Oh,
The total interest?
What's the total interest on this loan? You don't need a calculator for it.
1,428.
Emma?
1,428.
0.19. That's right. We borrowed $14,000, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We paid it off. It took 38.57 payments of $400 to pay it off. That's how much we paid on this loan. So the difference between the two is the amount of interest that I paid on this loan. In this case, is $1,428.19.
You want to do it this way. It's a little bit different answer. If you just do let's value 0 and then do it that way, then that's wrong. It's the
Right.
next question.
Because you're also saying that it's 36 payments.
Yeah, but it's not.
But we're not. It doesn't say. Yeah.
The
So
amount of payments, right?
it says the simple interest is a 3-year term. This one we don't know. It's just going to pay it off until the end. Okay. So a couple keys to this question here. This one right here. Your future value. You're paying off all your loans, right? So your future value will be 0. So what you need to do then is you need to calculate how much I'm going to actually pay for the loan to pay it off. Okay? Questions about the loans? Okay, let's try the third part of this then. It says interest compounded annually with regular annual payments of $4,800. So the exact same thing I'm going to do here. Compounded yearly, payments yearly, right? Interest compounded annually with regular annual payments. My future value is 0. What are my payments? 4,800. 6% interest, borrowed $14,000. Let's find out what my end value is.
And then multiply by 4,800.
What's the end value first? Have I got the end value? $2.945. Thanks. Now I'm going to times that by 4,800.
That's 15,428. $38,846.46.
Okay. So what is the interest paid on the loan if I do it that way? Did you say 46 or 76?
I got 3.3.
I got
on
3.3
the
too.
Can I have a look?
Yeah, I got 3.3 on this one.
A 3.301. Everything looks to be all right here. You want to check and see, Garrett?
There's no one wrong here. I can't really see in this one.
Right. 3.301, is that what we have?
Yeah,
Okay, so then multiply that by
and then you get $15,846.
800 and what?
46.
Do we all get that?
96. That's what I got.
What has it as 76, not 46? That's what I'm asking. Is that what we get here? 1846?
I got 40.
I got 44.8.
Oh yeah, that's what I got. If you don't take the whole value, just take 3.5.
Okay, we'll times that into the 800. I get 15,846.96. That's what I get here. So all Rory did was put it to the end and times it by. So she kept all the decimal places. So if you round this off, you got 44. If you don't round it off, you get 46. That's quite significant. That's $2.
Do you want us to round it up?
No, I would try and use a calculator to the best of your advantage. Okay. All right. Any questions about it?
And you subtract 4,800 to get
No, 14,000.
all.
All right. So again, using the same thing that we did in the investments part, right? All right. I'm gonna look at let's look at the credit cards. We'll go through those quickly, and then we will. Okay, credit card purchase may cost more than it first appears because of the interest charged and the total payments and the time to pay off the balance. Credit cards usually have a minimum amount that must be paid each month based on a percent of the outstanding balance. There is no outstanding balance from the previous month and the new balance is paid off in full by the payment due date. No interest is charged. Making a simple payment with a credit card that does not have an outstanding balance is like a loan with a purchase price as the principal borrowed and regular payments to pay off the balance. Okay. We need to, I think now's a good time. Anybody in here have a credit card? Okay, now, here's the thing. This is what you need to have an understanding of. At some point, you want to start with one. Just keep your monthly, your balance, like your, lost my train of thought here. Keep the amount at like $500. So you can't borrow more than $500 on it. So your credit card limit, that's the word I was looking for. Your credit card limit. Now, the reason I'm saying this is if you wanted to go get a loan to purchase a vehicle, they're going to run a credit check on you. Well, you don't have any credit right now at your age, okay? So somebody has to co-sign the loan for you. So your parents will have credit. They'll check your parents' credit limit. But you do, with banking technology being the way it is today, it does not hurt you to have a credit card because you can pay it off instantly. So what I'm trying to suggest to you is this. You get a credit card, you keep the credit limit very low, $500, let's say. That's usually about the starting one for somebody that has no credit background. You purchase with it, and then you immediately pay it off online. Okay? What you are doing is you are increasing your credit limit. So if it comes down to it in a year's time and you want to go for a car loan and you've continued to pay off your credit card immediately, you've never had an outstanding balance, it never carries forward, you've now created yourself a good credit limit. You need credit limit for small loans, you need credit limit for large loans. They will check those. but you can't get credit limit unless you start borrowing at some point and having to pay back.
They won't let you
So-
get a credit card.
Pardon me?
They won't let you get a credit until you're 18. We're not allowed.
Until you're 18, you can, as long as it's, again, co-signed. You can co-sign a credit card. Yes, you can.
They wouldn't let me.
What's
I
that?
have a loan. They wouldn't let
You have a
me.
loan, co-signed?
Mhm.
Yeah. But no, like you can get a credit card as long as you can show that you have an income, a regular income.
Yeah, he said that he couldn't give it to me. So I'm under 18.
I would check a different financial institution then.
Yeah, he's kind of.
Who was this?
Okay? So, anyways, the long and short of it is, the way credit cards work now, yes, they can get you into a whole heap of trouble. However, if you are conscientious about it and you pay it off online, which is far easier than what we used to have to do. You have to send a check in.
My grandma still
And
does.
what's that?
This is what my grandma still does.
Still sends checks
Yeah, it's
in?
like 11 o'clock at night and she's like calling, figuring out what her balance is and writing checks.
Yeah. But, yeah. Old habits of die hard. But what I'm saying is that you want to be doing that so that you can increase your credit rating sooner than later. Okay? But don't carry it. I'm not saying go out and then spend a whole pile of money and not pay it off, because then you ruin your credit rating and you can't get credit then. But the problem with credit cards is high interest rates. Usually around 17 to 18%, especially for new ones. It's huge. But again, if you pay it off within the month, it doesn't affect you. All right, it only carries forward. The interest rate only affects you as it carries forward after your purchases, after a month's time, whatever. Okay. So, having a look at the example on that page, Ruby will use credit to buy a work of Salish art for $2,000. She can afford monthly payments of $100. Which option is better choice and why? So a bank loan with monthly payments with 8.9% interest compounded monthly, or a store credit card with an immediate rebate of $100 at 18.3% compounded daily. Okay, so two options. So again, let's get our TVM solver out and let's see how this is going to work for us. Okay, interest rate on the first one, 8.9%. How much is she borrowing? $2,000. And she is going to make, she can afford monthly payments of $100. She's going to pay it off. The payments per year are 12. And the compounding interest is 12 as well. All right, so let's find out the number of payments.
21.729.
729, and we'll multiply that by 100, which is going to give us 2,172.9, and you're going to need that other decimal place there. 7, thanks. Okay,
It's 8.7
I
here
got
if you.
this is 8.7 here?
Yeah, because I just rounded it up for the
Yeah,
last.
okay, thanks. Okay, so how much interest did she pay on that $2,000 loan? $0.80, and approximately how long did it take her to pay it back? 21.73 months, right? Okay, good. Now, the second part of this question says a store credit with an immediate rebate of $100. So what's changing now? Interest rate is 18.3%. Okay. How much is she actually borrowing right now? Is she borrowing 2,000? Are we reading the textbook or not? Put your noses in your book and read it. Option B.
$100. A rebate of 100.
So how much are you borrowing then?
100.
No,
What's a rebate?
You can get it back.
money back. 1900. Okay, so here's what I want to set up for you. One of the issues that you have to pay attention to with credit cards. There will be multiple options for credit cards. Basically, what you want to do is keep it to I honestly think that the best thing for somebody younger is 2 credit cards. One with a little bit larger limit, and one with a very small limit that never changes. Now, the reason I say that is I would use the small limit one for any online purchasing. Okay? Because, yes, people can get hacked. So if you have a secondary credit card that has a really low limit, then at least if it gets hacked, you're not going to lose as much money as you could. But here's what happens. You go into the bay, all right? And the bay says, hey, you purchase all of this clothing, we will give you use a bay credit card, and we'll give you 25% off of your purchases. Sounds great, but it's another credit card. The issue that they have is the bank is going to look at your financial situation. They're going to say, hey, you have 3 credit cards. So the amount of money that you can actually borrow from these credit card companies is way up here. We aren't going to give you a loan because we're afraid that you're going to borrow against those credit cards and you're not going to be able to pay our loan back. So when you have company credit cards, such as the Bay, so it's one that just jumps out at me because I know that they have one, but if you go into certain stores, they'll say, hey, get a store credit card here with us. You'll get rebates on all of your items that you purchase. But then when a bank looks at it, they're going to say, oh, wait a minute, you got too much borrowing power. We can't give you a loan. You have to cancel you have to cancel one of those credit cards. Okay? So you have to watch. This is a perfect example of it. Another one's like the Best Buys and the Source and those, they'll have the same type of options for you as well. Okay? So what happens here is they give you a rebate, but look at the interest rate. It's 18.3% on that guy. All right, so let's follow through with this question. Minus $100, 0. It is compounded. You're making 12 payments per year, but compounded daily. So let's see how many payments it's going to take right now to pay this off at 18.3%. Only borrowing $1,900, not $2,000, because they give you a rebate of $100 off. 22.639, and again I got to multiply that by 100. So what does that work out to? $2,263.95. And if I subtract the amount I borrowed, so subtract the $1,900, how much interest did I end up paying here?
No, 363.95.
So yeah, you paid less on your purchase. You had to borrow less, but it cost you double the interest on that for using the credit card. Okay? Questions, comments about this?
Why would you use credit card?
Convenience mostly. And like I said, if you pay for it and then pay it off right away, then you don't have to pay that interest on it. No.
So if you
So if it goes past your payment date or whatever, then that's when you pay the interest?
Yes.
If you go back to
You make your monthly payments and clear out your credit card, you're good. Yes.
My computer won't allow me to.
super dangerous.
Okay, any other comments about this? Again, this is, yeah, Morgan.
What do I have to times by in order to get 2,263.95?
That's the number of payments, Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
How much are you making a payment? $100.
So times by 100.
Yes.
And then after that, I have to,
I subtracted this number, subtract that number to get my interest.
okay. So why do I have to subtract 1,900?
Because that's how much money you borrowed.
Yeah,
That's how much money you paid back.
okay,
So the difference is that goes to the bank for lending you money.
okay.
Okay? Any other comments or questions about credit cards or lending or borrowing?
Which one's best to get? Is there so many?
There are so many. Realistically, I don't really have a great, like a foolproof answer. Point credit cards are great.
Yeah.
You know, the Avions, Air Miles, another one. WestJet ones are good because WestJet will offer, like if you intend on flying at all, WestJet will offer you a buddy pass, so you get a $99 ticket once a year somewhere in Canada. So if you do the WestJet points plan, WestJet and Air Miles, they kind of work together. Well, Air Miles works with all airlines. Plus Air Miles, you can have a separate card, you can have a built-in card, you can get double the Air Miles. But I know lots use the Avion. It's an RBC one that collects, I guess, travel points as well. I always look at it travel points. I think you could purchase using points as well, but I just use it for travel points. But so there is not much difference. Sometimes in the old days it would have been familiar, like easy for you to access. So like the Royal Bank one, because you have a Royal Bank in town, right? So that's one that because your banking institution is close to you. But now because everything's online, like Bank of Montreal, Royal Bank, TD Bank, like use whatever you want. It's easy to get to. But I would say like a good place to start is the RBC because you have the institution here. They do offer a points program, but so yeah, there are so many. Other questions? Deal with loans or credit cards or anything? Again, another really, really good section of this book where it's something that's important to you. You guys are all going to university. You're gonna need to purchase textbooks and living stuff, and these are good things to learn right now.
So if you take out a student loan, can you use the money from the student loan to pay off your credit card?
Yes.
To buy like books and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would purchase with the credit card and then use the student loan to pay it off right away.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that if you can pay off your cards immediately, it's the way to go, obviously. But it's hard because there's sometimes you use the credit cards. That's the other reason you have to use credit cards is big purchases. Gives you a little bit of flexibility if you have to buy something substantial. Pay it off in a little more time, but you don't want it lagging. Make your minimum monthly payments as best you can. Okay, anything else you want to ask about? Again, this is something that you want to... Okay, so you have 2-1 and 2-2 today. You've got about 45 minutes, a little less than 45 minutes to work on.
Tomorrow.
Okay, well, we got 2-2 tomorrow too.
They use the washroom.
Yeah.
Can I go too?
Yeah.
Can I go to